Second.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion to approve payment of bills?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passes. Fourth item is to approve meeting minutes for December 21, 2015. I went through it, I didn't see anything.
I also read the minutes. I saw no changes that need to be done. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the December 21st, 2015 meeting.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor of approving those minutes, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? There's one item, item number 5 is the consent agenda. There's one item on that. Ed, could you read that for us, please? I'm sorry, Steve, would you read that for us, please?
Sure.
Threw me a curveball.
I will read it. Adopt a resolution supporting the submission of a community blue grant application by the residents in Rice Lake area of the township. And I'd like to also note that there is some slight verbiage changes in that resolution that the staff will have to fix in our packet on page 14. I think it's all been noted. So with that, I'd like to have approve the consent agenda item 5A.
The motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Item 6 is old business. There is none. Item 7A is a public hearing for 710. Oh, there we are. We're a little bit early, so let's see. Jim, could you jump in and do item 7B, and then that's the town engineer item regarding the 2016 sanitary sewer lining for Over Lake Avenue.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, as called out, we've been doing improvements to where we found issues with our sanitary sewer system. Last fall, we did go out for quotes on 2 portions within the township. We did award the one project on the west side of Bald Eagle. Tonight, what we're asking for is to go out for quotes on another area. This is the Over Lake Avenue portion on the east side of Bald Eagle Lake. We have done televising out there, and we've found that we have leaks within that sanitary line. This project will be part of what we need to do for our I&I activities. With the improvements throughout the township, we are required to do $70,000 a year. So we want to go out for quotes. Again, this would be where we solicit, we'll put the plans and specifications, wrap those up, send those out, and we anticipate bringing that back in 2 weeks to the next town board meeting. Maybe we will end up with the same contractor that got the project last fall, but we will be sending it out to all the people that were solicited for last year's lining project. At this point, we are looking for authorization for $975 to complete those plans and specifications and go out for quotes. And as I said, we'll bring that to the next town board meeting.
Okay. And Jim, I think you mentioned it, but all these expenses, including this $975 max, are going to be included in our 2016 expenditures to apply for the I&I
Correct.
program. Okay. And then the funding would come from the sanitary sewer fund.
Yes.
All right. Any other comments from the board?
Jim, you want to refresh my memory? Are there any stubs in this line?
This stretch, there are actually some service-wise that we are going to seal off that are leaking, but we do not have any in this whole stretch that's before you tonight. This will just be main line and no connections to it.
And how big is this one? What size is this one?
The pipe is only 8-inch through that stretch. As you can see from the map in the packet, there's just the immediate homes to the west between that park
I'll just
area.
put that up there for the benefit of people sitting here so they have some idea what we're talking about. That might,
Sure. So for reference, you can see Highway 61 on the east side. Over Lake Avenue is where the road used to go through. The sanitary line still goes through, and we now have the realignment of that road that goes up curved portion. Again, this services all those houses between basically the park area and Bald Eagle Lake. As you can see, there's no homes in the stretch that we will be doing the lining.
that's just north of the public access on Bald Eagle Lake.
Correct.
Yeah.
Jim, when you say you're going to seal off those service-wise, is that going to be a permanent seal?
Correct.
So
Yeah,
if
I mean,
it-
it'll be something that if there ever is a chance. So when you do this type of activity, you run the main line through with the lining, and then you come back and you cut out the services on a typical project where you have connections. In this case, we have some services that are existing that are plugged some distance out from the main because they're not connected, and we have some leaks within those. So we will running the lining straight through, and then we're not gonna open up
Okay,
those
all right,
connections.
But the wise, if there was some future development or reason to connect those wires, you could still cut that lining at that point.
Correct.
All right, okay.
And this is for the benefit, this is the second phase of what we identified for the two projects we were gonna work on, the other side of Bald Eagle and this overlay.
Correct.
Any other questions or comments? What is the pleasure of the board? The action item that you're requesting, Jim, is to approve, or to authorize you to solicit bids.
Correct. For the $975.
Ceiling of $975, okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion based on town engineer's recommendation to authorize TKDA to work with Public Works to revise plans and specifications from the 2015 sanitary sewer lining project and solicit bids for the 2016 sanitary sewer lining of Overlake Avenue in amount not to exceed $975, with the funds coming from the sanitary sewer fund.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion's made and seconded. If there's no further comments, I'll call the question. Those in favor of approving that request, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. And we're just about at 7:10, so let's go back to 7A on the agenda. Okay, item 7A is new business. That's regarding a request for a hobby kennel license at 4532 Grace Street. And that kennel license is to allow 3 dogs as private pets at that residence. This hearing notice has been properly published already, so can we have a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion's made and seconded. Please, those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion to approve the opening of the public hearing.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. Those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, and at this time, is this yours, Bill?
Yep. The town's ordinance number 5, the animal ordinance, requires that if anybody wants to have a third dog in a residential dwelling, they must first acquire a hobby kennel license. 1 or 2 dogs doesn't require a license. A third dog does. We don't have a provision for over 3. Kyle Anderson at 4532 Grace Street currently has 2 dogs and would like to add a third dog. I'd like to note that this may be the first one we've had in a long time where the owner didn't already have 3 dogs. So Kyle should be complimented for being proactive. So Kyle has completed his application, and the requirements set forth in ordinance number 5 include that the dogs have rabies certificates, and his 2 existing dogs do, and the 3rd dog will be required to have one if approved. That they have current licenses, so his 2 existing dogs do have licenses. We've had an animal control report done by Public Service Officer Mario Lee. His report is included in the packet, which basically he indicates in his report that he's visited the premises, he's inspected the 2 existing dogs, and the conditions for how the property owners are taking care of those dogs, and the capacity for them to add another dog. And after a fairly thorough review, which is included on page 24 of your packet, his recommendation is, incidentally, there have been no complaints of the 2 dogs that are there. His recommendation is to approve the kennel license after installation of a tall wooden or chain link fence. And he specifically identifies the area he recommends for a fence on page 26, but it's basically to enclose the backyard. So with that condition, he's recommending approval. As of today, we've received no response from the several neighbors that were notified of the hearing tonight. And I don't believe anybody in the audience here is to comment on that, but
Is the
Bill.
applicant here? I guess not.
Speaking
Bill,
of-
the drawing shows the fence extended all the way out to the street. And you're gonna modify that so that it doesn't go beyond the
yeah,
garage?
on page 26, Mario Lee's diagram indicates that a fence would go all the way to the right-of-way line on Gray Street, when in fact the town's building code prohibits any fence taller than 42 inches from being in the front yard. And the diagram does show a fence that would be extended from the north side of the building to the north property line, so that the backyard would be completely enclosed. So our recommendation is that the backyard be enclosed as recommended by Animal Control Officer, and the maximum fence height is 6 feet. And it would either be chain link or wood.
Okay. And we don't know yet what that 3rd dog is going to be?
Yes, I think somewhere in here they've indicated the dog would be
That's a bigger dog.
German
big
Shepherd
dog.
or a Bernese Mountain Dog. It's in Mario's write-up.
Thank you.
Ah, okay.
The question, it says with the fence being installed, so is our plan then, if we agree to this, to put some conditions as to how fast that fence has to be up?
Yes.
Okay. Because his recommendation is based on them providing a fenced-in area for the.
Correct.
Yeah, and we can put that condition on. We've done that before.
Yeah.
You could include the condition that the fence has to be installed before the dog arrives.
Yeah.
And then does animal control, is that the agency that checks on the licensing for the new dog and the rabies vaccination? Where
We do that internally.
Yeah, okay, staff does that for.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Bill, I noticed this obviously goes out of the township boundary, so those affected neighbors in the city were notified?
The list of addresses that were notified does not go north of the town boundary. So I looked at the list and I saw the Highway 96 residents were just the ones on the township side of Highway 96.
And that's consistent with the other ones we've looked at where they bordered on White Bear. The last one we looked at, we didn't notify only our own residents of it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
No.
Is there anyone, are you the applicant? Are you Kyle? Do you have any comments? If you do, would you please step to the mic and identify yourself?
Yeah. I am Kyle Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, the stipulation that I understood was that once I get the fence, then I would apply for the or not, or yeah, apply for the third dog license.
Okay.
So I was planning on getting a fence before getting the dog.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
All right, did you have any questions for us then, or beyond that? And see, I think you were coming in as Bill was talking about the fence extension.
Yes,
Did you hear
yes,
that part?
I did hear that.
Okay, all right. All right,
Did you guys have any questions for me?
I think it's pretty straightforward. Okay, thanks, Carl.
Yeah.
All right, what is the pleasure of the board?
Want to close the,
Is there a motion to, yeah, let's, is there a motion to close the public portion of the hearing?
so moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
We're closed. So the action I requested here then is to approve an issuance of a hobby kennel license.
Well, I'd make a motion based on the Township's Animal Control Officer's review and recommendation, approve the issuance of a hobby kennel license to Kyle Anderson at 4532 Grace Street, subject to some conditions. The first one is the completion of the installation of the fence, as outlined. I think you've already seen Mario Lee's recommendations, okay? So that needs to be done prior to the agreement. And the new dog shall obtain a dog license from the White Bear Township. The new dog shall have a current rabies vaccination. And fourth, the hobby kennel license shall expire on March 31st, 2018, which is when the dog licenses expire, and the application for renewal shall be completed prior to that date. And the fifth is that Township reserves the right to revisit the action to approve this hobby kennel license if complaints are received during this license period. And the sixth one is that state, federal, and local laws and ordinances shall be complied with. So with those 6 items, I'd like that motion to recommend it to be approved.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further comments? If not, I'll call the question. Those in favor of approving the kennel license, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Approved.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Item 7C on the agenda is, we have 2 items under Public Works, and the first one, 7C, is regarding appointment to a full-time Public Works position as he has completed his probationary period. Bill, that's yours?
Yep, I'll make the presentation, but I'd like to, for purposes of presentation, I'd like to combine items 7C and 7D,
Okay.
but you'll have to act on them separately.
Is that okay with the board?
I agree.
On June 1st, the town board appointed Paul Peltier to a lead worker position. He's an existing employee that was promoted to lead worker, and at the same time, G.T. Magnuson promoted to mechanic. The town's personnel policy provides that each would serve a 6-month probationary period, and upon completion of the probationary period, there'd be a report prepared by their supervisor. So included in your packet on pages 41 and 43 are memorandums prepared by Pete Folan, our field maintenance supervisor. Regarding lead worker Paul Peltier, Pete points out that Paul filled in for him while he was out on medical leave for 2 months and showed everyone that he's capable of doing the job. Pete's observation is that Paul is willing to tackle any job or task given to him and openly communicates with the rest of the staff. So Pete's recommendation, as well as Dale Reed, the Public Works Director, and my own, is to appoint Paul as a permanent full-time lead worker. G.T. Magnuson, observations are almost identical to those of Paul. Again, he's indicated that he's a team player. He will tackle any job or task given to him. He's fulfilled all the essential duties of the position and is recommended for appointment to permanent position as well.
Bill, the only comment I would like to add to that is that both individuals have been employed by the township quite a bit longer than the past 6 months.
Yep.
Paul has been with the township for how many years?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm over 10, maybe closer to 15.
GT has been with the township for at least a couple of years?
I'd say close to 5.
5, okay. All right. Any questions or comments from the board?
No, the little interaction I've had with both of them, they are very professional, and I see no reason not to proceed with the approval of this.
Okay.
All right, I'll move to appoint Paul Peltier as permanent full-time Public Works lead worker.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion's made and seconded to appoint Paul as the full-time Public Works lead worker. Those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Paul is appointed. And the second action item is for GT.
I move to appoint Gerald Thomas Magnuson as permanent full-time Public Works mechanic.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion's made and seconded. Those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? GT is appointed. Okay, item 7E on the agenda is regarding White Bear Lake School District 624 Community Forum on Seniors Survey. Bill, that's yours?
The White Bear Lake Public Schools Community Services and Recreation Department, in cooperation with the YMCA, is requesting that the town board consider contributing to a comprehensive community survey of what turned out to be 1,100 residents of the district. The purpose of the survey was to identify gaps, opportunities, infrastructure improvements needed for our aging adult population. And they've submitted this same request to all of the municipalities within the school district boundaries. There have been several meetings regarding this survey. The school district did proceed to contract for the survey, and the most recent presentation was made earlier, and I think it was December 9th. Yes, December 9th at the district center. And at that time, an overview of the results of the survey were presented. And they indicated during that meeting, and Christine Goodrich of the White Bear Press did a nice job summarizing the meeting, basically indicated that each community will receive a copy of the full survey results, and the larger communities, which would include the township, that had large enough samples will also receive the responses of just their residents. The community leaders will be invited to reconvene later this winter to discuss the results and to spur any changes in locally provided services. So this survey was intended to get a sort of a basic understanding of our senior population's perspective or views on several of questions. I think there were over 100 questions, and the surveys took a minimum of 30 minutes. Some took up to an hour. And all that data has been compiled, and now the survey will take place. The town board did discuss the potential of contributing $1,000 to this survey, and tonight's action would be to consider whether or not the board wants to make that official.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
No, I think we discussed that in our exec meeting pretty thoroughly on that and the amount we're willing to contribute. So I have no questions.
Ed, anything?
Bill, were the results of the survey put on our webpage or not?
Not yet, but it certainly could be.
We could certainly make that a condition of the contribution.
Yep.
All right. Now what is the pleasure of the board here? So the action item requested is to authorize the donation of $1,000.
I'll make a motion to authorize the donation of $1,000 to the White Bear Lake 624 Community Forum on senior survey, with funding coming from the General Government Department of the General Fund.
I'll second the motion.
Motion's made and seconded with the comment from Supervisor Prudhomme that we have the results included in the township website.
Works for me.
Okay. All right. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Next item on the agenda is 7F, and that's regarding township credit card users. Bill, that's yours?
Yep. Some time ago, I can't remember if it was over a year, that the town authorized the use of purchase cards to make certain purchases a little bit more convenient. It's a process that's, it really streamlines the purchase process, and we proceeded with it pursuant to Minnesota WSCA P-card program through U.S. Bank. It's been a successful program for the town in terms of streamlining purchases. The purchases go through the same purchasing policy of everything else. It's just a mechanism that makes the transaction more efficient. The changes, and the town board did adopt a policy on the use of purchase cards in the past. The recommendation tonight is that an employee who is retired be deleted from the list of employees, and that's my cash, and that the 2 employees that the town appointed to permanent positions tonight, Paul Piltier and G.T. Magnuson, be added to the purchase card list, and that the maximum monthly spending limit be adjusted down from $30,000 to $20,000 for 4 of the employees. So that's the staff recommendation.
And this is the same schedule that we reviewed at the executive board meeting.
Yes.
And just to note, this credit card management policy has been reviewed and favorably reviewed by the town auditor.
That's correct.
And the use of the credit cards does not waive the approval process that we have in place, if I remember right.
It is subject to change also.
Well, we have to follow the town purchasing policy on all purchases. This is just a mechanism to make it streamlined.
Yep. Okay, any other questions? So the request is to approve the credit card spending limits as listed on page 49 of the packet. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor of approving that schedule, please say, on page 49, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Item 7, next item on the agenda is 7G, and that's regarding a U.S. Geological Survey project update. And they're scheduling an update presentation for January 20th, and I guess our interest is to, if the other board members are interested in attending, then we have to schedule that as a board meeting. So are you guys interested in that?
I am.
I am.
I don't think I can make that one.
Well, we still, with 2 out of the 3 board members, we still have to schedule that as a board meeting. So is there a motion to that effect?
Motion, so moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to schedule a special town board meeting for January 20, 2016 from 10 to noon at the White Bear Lake City Hall Council Chambers. Those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion passes. Under added agenda items, item number 8, Bill, you're going to give us a quick update on the Bald Eagle Island status, project status?
I'll get the ball rolling, but Tom might be able to answer some questions, and it's only Chad, town attorney, and Pat Kelly, and Tom, and Mike Johnson, building inspector, and I had a telephone conference call regarding this today, so we're all kind of in the act to give the town board status report. When the town approved the conditional use permit for the recording studio on the island, it was given with a 6-month condition that it be initiated, project be initiated within 6 months. It wasn't, but the town does have a provision for a 6-month extension, which was granted and will expire tomorrow, basically, to let the town board know that the applicant, which includes the developer and the property owner, a complete application for building permit has been made. Actually, 2 building permits, one for remodeling the home and a second for construction of an accessory building. The town's building inspector has reviewed both and has prepared a building permit to be issued for the remodel of the existing home. There's still some information that's needed for the accessory building. And so we've discussed this with the town attorneys as to what constitutes initiating the project. And we concluded, and Chad can probably speak better to this than I can if you have specific questions, but that as much as the building permit for the remodel is ready to be picked up, that it is basically initiated, and that initiation can be consummated with picking up the permit, which means paying for the permit as well as paying up the zoning account, the zoning review account. And we expect that to be done tomorrow or Wednesday. So that's the status report. So no action is necessary from the board. We just thought
Okay,
since
good.
this was a topic of great
But it's
interest.
just the permit, building permit just for the remodeling. It's gonna be picked up tomorrow.
Yes,
And then what's the status of the accessory building going to be?
they're gathering.
Very closely after that.
Yeah, we got a status report from Mike today, and he said that he received the additional information he was looking for the accessory building.
Okay, great, all right, well,
Just one question, Bill. When I spoke to Mike last week, he wasn't comfortable issuing a building permit till he was sure that the property had exchanged hands.
We can give you a status on that. At the original building permit application was made by the developer, not the property owner. Just so happens the property owner stopped in a day later or 2 days later and co-signed the application. So Nick Van Brunt, as property owner, signed the application for building permit too. So
But we
Mike's
still don't
comfortable.
know if it is now in Megabind's name or Nick is still part of this.
Oh, Nick still owns it. They haven't closed on the purchase yet.
Was that part of the agreement?
Regardless, right now the owner is Nick Van Brunt, and he has signed the application, and that's what we need.
So as it sits here tonight, we're comfortable that, based on words in Chad's mouth, that they've met what our requirements were to have the building permit process move forward.
A reasonable construction of the ordinance would require that initiation would be application for the permit, obtaining the permit, and paying the fee.
Okay. And with those three items you mentioned, if that doesn't take place in the next, as anticipated in the next few weeks or next few days, does that alter our
Well,
process?
then they haven't initiated then,
Okay.
as
So-
required under the,
But it's assumed that, pretty much felt that it's gonna happen at this point. Okay.
Would you indicate your conversations you've had with the attorney representing that?
yeah, actually, I mean, the attorney has indicated they'll cooperate and take care of all this.
Okay.
And they understand that they have to do this to initiate it.
and if they fail to
The
do,
attorney I'm talking about is the attorney for the developer.
Correct.
and if they fail to perform this week, are they back to square zero then for the whole project application?
Well, the
Are we back-
expiration period runs out, you'd have the right to, to expire.
Well, but technically it ran out January 1st. But
No.
now that they've
Tomorrow.
initiated this,
5th.
they've initiated this, does that mean it's only another 6 months? Or does that mean just a timely manner to get everything organized?
Yeah, the current permit actually expires tomorrow, and that's the end of the 6-month extension that the town board gave earlier last year. So it's been a year from approval, approximately. But yeah, it's set to sunset tomorrow.
But having said that, if all things are in place, but a day or two difference, I'm not, I mean, we're taking reasonable steps to make this, see the process moves forward. But at what point is enough enough? Is that 2 weeks, a month?
We'd be glad to report back to the board on the status of this at your next meeting.
At the
Or-
next meeting.
Or even individually, I could contact you.
I mean,
So
at some point,
within 2 weeks, they should be able to complete this permit application, or both building permit applications.
yes.
We anticipate.
All right. Okay. Any other,
No action
so no
necessary.
action, we're just getting an update. All right. But we will bear back, we will get a further update on the, what will it be, the January 20th board meeting?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thanks, Bill. All right, item number 9 on the agenda is open time. Is there anyone here for open time? I see we have a number of students here. You're welcome to present any issues, comments, questions you might have. It's all part of your learning process.
Any questions?
All right, we're glad to have you here. We hope you picked up a few interesting tidbits during this session here, so.
Are you ready for the test?
All right, item 10 on the agenda is to receive agenda materials and supplements. Is
So
there a
moved.
motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor of accepting the agenda materials and subs, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So motion made.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We are adjourned.